Welcome to the world of Avatar 7 Havens. After a massive disaster, the world has drastically changed, and the vestiges of civilization find themselves in the titular Seven Havens. Naturally, Variety has an article about this, and it says that Seven Havens will follow two earthbending twins when one discovers she's the Avatar, the latest who can bend the four elements, and the new series, well, I just said it, there's a massive cataclysm. Okay, so let's comment on the art direction they went with. I feel like this is more Voltron, more Dragon Prince than it is Avatar The Last Airbender. Then again, Studio Mir, who worked on Voltron, also did work for The Legend of Korra. Setting is something you'll need to sell me on. I'm okay with the happy ending override because every single Avatar will get a happy ending override. The Avatar's work is never done. However, the happy ending override of this show happens to be the apocalypse. You're going to need to sell me on this because, one, I would like to see more of the architecture, and two, it's very sad to see the world just simply regress after this. I get this piece of concept art is meant to establish Pavi, the designated animal, and a supporting cast member. I think the supporting cast member's name is Jay, as in the Korean last name. And speaking of Pavi, you'll notice she's also an amputee here. I think this is a great conflict for the Avatar to have. See, the bending arts and martial arts in this show in general are made for people who usually have all their limbs. When a disability is present, there has to be some kind of compensation. Toph has her seismic sense, which makes up for her disability, but it's honestly not a perfect replacement, such as she can't read or write, or at least until someone invents Braille, and the quality of earth she's standing on will be an issue. Minghua, on the other hand, did a poor job in this regard. She was part of an ensemble cast, and while the ensemble can be interesting because of their unique powers, there's some problems with that. You don't get everyone having focused, and she was highly underdeveloped both as a fighter, even though she was threatening, but learning about the arts behind the fighting style is very interesting to me, so in that regard, Minghua I'm not exactly interested in. But enough talk about the Red Lotus, let's talk about Pavi here. Now imagine not having a leg and basically needing to reinvent bending the elements from a style made for people who have both their legs. That's going to be an interesting conflict. Perhaps Pavi could get headway into the other three elements, but she struggles with her native one, sort of like what Kaigaku struggles with in Demon Slayer. See, Kaigaku, he could not master the most basic thunder breathing techniques, but he could do all the others. Fundamentally, his poor mastery, his lack of mastery actually, of the first form of thunder breathing made his other techniques weaker in comparison, just because they all chain together. That's how this works. With Pavi, we were shown avatars in the past struggling with their non-native elements, but never with their native ones, and it creates a great conflict. But once more in this very short video, I have to bring up the problem of the apocalyptic setting, because that is my somehow Palpatine returned moment. Like Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker, this will make or break everything for me. Hitting the apocalypse button feels like a massive narrative cop-out. It's like the staff wanted a vision that looked more like the original Avatar, medieval, not too advanced, somewhat feudalistic, but at the same time there were enough elements of modern technology, such as the Fire Nation, in order to get a feeling that this isn't so far in the past. However, the setting in The Legend of Korra, you're going to need to somehow remedy this, even though you were the ones who put yourself in this position in the first place. I am not a fan of simply hitting the reset button and smashing every single coastline city and defaulting to this. I wonder if the spirit disaster, because we know spirits will be involved because of the lights. I know this is not the South Pole, unless it is the South Pole, in which case this will be a very interesting setting. I'm just hoping that it's not something like the spirit of climate change destroyed the world, or Kuvira's spirit cannon ended up getting leaked somewhere, and then replicated, and all the nations ended up destroying themselves, and Korra had to make a very difficult choice of, does she cause the apocalypse, or does she crack the world and let everyone destroy themselves? I know I sound ridiculously critical of this, but I want this to be good. I love this franchise. Another thing that the Variety article points out is the Earthbending twins, where one discovers that she's the Avatar. So, how do we handle this? Funny enough, there is a case where we did have Earthbending twins in the original series, but since one of the twins in our case is the Avatar, I feel like I need to bring up the elephant in the room. See, the Avatar is made of Rava and Vatu. Rava and Vatu are, in a way, twins, two equal and opposite extremes. I hate Rava and Vatu. I have gone on length and said how much I do not like them as a concept. It's a misrepresentation of yin and yang to the point that you're just staring at it, wondering what on earth they were thinking. It turns the Avatar from the Avatar into the Force from Star Wars. It's simply not interesting, and neither Rava and Vatu are interesting in and of themselves. If anything, they make the world less interesting. So I am hoping they do not go the route that everyone thinks they're going, and the leaks I'm not going to address, but please tell me they are not going to do something as stupid as take the spirit of darkness and destruction here and shove it into the other twin. Yes, that is a writing decision that was apparently leaked, and I don't really buy the leak because I don't think that the powers that be, or whoever's writing this, and whoever's in the writer's room wouldn't stand up and say, do we really want to do this? Do we really want to put Rava and Vatu into one twin and then shove the other spirit into the other twin in order to make twin avatars, and one becomes the light avatar and one becomes the dark avatar? Sure, it's good for character conflict because one fundamentally does not want to be the dark avatar, but why? It's one of my biggest problems with The Legend of Korra. I have a lot of problems with The Legend of Korra, and I'll maybe make long videos on that one day. But right now, the fundamental issue of Pavi's story is that she has to build off of Korra's story. And it's not just her story, it's the fact that she has to build off on the world building and the rules that were established in The Legend of Korra. Some things were left a mystery in Avatar: The Last Airbender, which The Legend of Korra answered, and then ends up dictating for several years down the future. For instance, look at Jay in the background. Fashion-wise, it's a strong link between The Legend of Korra and this show. Everything else, such as this animal, whose name I forgot, I feel like it's less of a strong link, and I'm hoping that they don't do the spirit designs. I much prefer the Evangelion Angels-inspired Heibai Dark Spirit rather than what The Legend of Korra did. Then there's the fact that we have to cover 7 Havens in 26 episodes. I have a problem with this. I've expressed this in the past as well. For 7 Havens in 26 episodes, you will lose something out of that. Either you're going to have a very tight story where it's very focused, but you're not going to do much exploring, which kind of beats the point of the world, or you're going to have uneven pacing. At least risk uneven pacing when you do an episodic story in 26 episodes. Avatar as a franchise tends to benefit from episodic storytelling because you can show off a lot more of a world and still not be completely, hesitate to use the term, but filler. Whereas when you do a very tightly centralized, serialized story, one episode being bad ends up tainting the rest because everything is a chain rather than a web. Again, I want this to be good. I want this show to give the children watching it the same feeling the original show gave me. But currently, I am not feeling too confident in this project at all. Those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.